Welcome to another edition of the show. Darek Sharp with my friends Caylee and Joey, and we are going to talk about quite the night at Raymond James Stadium. The Bulls taking on the Miami Hurricanes. I'll just say the final score briefly, 50-15, but it was a lot closer than that, especially for the first half before an incredibly talented Miami team took over with some depth. And we'll talk to Alex Golesh a little bit about that, but we'll also look forward for sure to a big conference opening opportunity this Saturday morning against the Tulane Green Wave on the road. That includes an early wake-up call in New Orleans. I don't know if Joey Johnston's going to be good with that, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Early to bed. Early to bed.
I'm glad it's you and not me. So this last Saturday, result be darned, and we'll get into the football side of things with the head coach, obviously, and we'll also talk to Derek Bowman, offensive lineman. But how electric was it there at Raymond James?
A packed out Ray J. So cool to see, and I spent the time with the student section, actually, so that'll be my feature this week.
Oh, you get to, people get to see that? Nice.
But man, so hyped up. I went out to the student lot with them when they were tailgating, talked to a bunch of them there, and how much pride they have in the school and how excited they are about this team and this group. And then once they get into the student section, describing what that was like, and they have a great time down there. So I spent the first quarter all in the student section with them. So I mean, when we scored that touchdown and they pulled the tarp up, I was underneath the tarp with them.
Oh, nice.
And then the lights all green.
So it's a
Really had the best time of all, it sounds like.
So it's a process. They don't just show up in that one end zone. And Joey, I know you've been able to broadcast so many important games and fun games. This was a little bit of everything.
Yeah, the first half was tremendous. It was back and forth. USF hung right in there. The second half got away, of course. I think it's important to note, though, that Miami and then Alabama previously, I mean, certainly you can say, oh, that's a difficult schedule. I mean, these are two teams that could win the national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, this is big time stuff. USF isn't quite ready to defeat either one of those teams just yet, but they're getting closer, and they gave Miami some things to think about. But boy, Miami is a good team, no question about it. But it was, like Caylee said, the whole pregame and the spectacle was a great night of entertainment. It was a lot of fun.
One thing that Coach said in his post-game press conference was he was asked to compare the programs Miami and Alabama since the Bulls have played them both, and he said it'd be interesting to see them match up with each other, and I have a feeling they will. Obviously, he's talking about the playoffs. Speaking of students, if there's one thing we've learned about Bulls football fans, their favorite word, renderings. Any peek at the on-campus stadium, which we're going to get a big bunch of peeks at when the groundbreaking hits on October 18th. But cool renderings last week of what the student section is going to look like in the new stadium. If you guys didn't see it, the entire west side of the stadium, the end zone, is 8,000 seats just for the students, and the middle of that section will be the, well, you see behind me the iconic Bull logo, so that's going to be cool. Did you happen to catch that?
Oh,
John?
yeah. I'm just trying to imagine what that's going to be like for the students and the kids who go to school at USF, just how much fun it's going to be on campus, and it's going to be a regular occurrence and a tradition to build upon. But every time I see these renderings, it just looks like everything seems to be first class. I mean, this is going to be
Very true.
A big-time, beautiful stadium that I know we're all going to be really proud of.
And also important, as you know, the importance of it, apparently the season ticket holders are going to be on the shady side, the south side. So from a guy that works on the sidelines, and Caylee, for somebody that works on the sidelines, what is the difference? I know it's been night games, but truly when it is 1 o'clock.
It's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. The shade is our friend over there. For sure.
It's unforgiving. The heat, so you do want some covering if you can. But, I think if you're a student, I don't know that you care that much about it. You're just out there just doing whatever,
You're
just
young.
having a good old time. But, it's actually 2027 sounds like a long time. It's actually not that far away. I mean, we'll be in that thing before you know it, and it'll be a wild and exciting new era of USF football.
So again, get those season tickets. Hey, we got the head coach Alex Golesh and a member of the offensive line, Derek Bowman, coming up for you here on Bullseye. Here with the head coach, Darek Sharp and Joey Johnston. Bulls getting ready for an early morning experience. We'll get to that, obviously. Let's talk a little bit about Miami, Coach. The crowd was as anticipated. The show was great. The first half was exhilarating. I know it didn't go your way in the second half, but overall, your thoughts on the contest?
Yeah, I think awesome environment. It certainly made a huge difference. I think I mean, you talk about over 15,000 students. How cool is that? It was cool to see that thing lit up in green, and it was what you want the college football experience here in Tampa to be. And I think it's a sign of things to come. I think as we continue to build, I feel like people are excited about it, and we've got to continue to build something special that people want to come see. In terms of the game, like you said, the first half, back and forth in every imaginable way. I thought our kids competed at a high level. In the second half, you kind of saw us wore down. You saw the plays that we were able to make in the first half. We weren't. I think we adjusted schematically well. I think we didn't execute as well as we needed to. And I think our depth showed up a little bit there, which we've obviously got to continue to build. And I think what a lot of credit has to go to Miami, the depth that they've been able to build in the 3 years that they've been there, I think showed up where as guys wore down, they were able to have a bunch of guys step up and play, and they played a ton of guys. I think the quarterback is really, really special.
Oh, man.
I think he's obviously got a bright future, and he made a lot of things happen for them offensively. And you talk about situational football, third down, red zone, like they were able to convert. They were 5 for 5 in the red zone, and that's the story of the game. And obviously our job is to get it fixed to where that doesn't happen, but a lot of credit to them and certainly the quarterback.
I saw a stat, I think it said USF has played the second most difficult schedule in the country to date. Not surprising, Alabama, Miami. How do you think this is going to help you as you go into conference play?
Yeah, I think we're certainly battle tested. If you're going to spin it in a positive, that's it. And I not that I spin it in a certain way, I truly believe that we are battle tested at this point. You've kind of seen it all. You've seen two of the top quarterbacks in the country. I think our quarterback has shown to be in that mix as well. You've seen some elite defenses, and you've seen some really good schemes and really good coaches that you've had to go compete against. And I think as you go into the league and you look at the front end of our league, you're going right back into an away game against a really good football team, against also a battle-tested football team, and a really good staff again where it's not going to get any easier. It's going to just continue to show, man, our depth. It's going to continue to show our experience and our growth, and we'll find out really quickly.
Got to ask you about two plays in particular. Yeah, that exhilarating part of the game in the beginning, obviously we're talking about is there a name for it, the Tampa Special with Sean Atkins, expert thrower of the ball, the pigskin, and then going for the 58-yard field goal, bringing everybody to a roar. I actually saw Martin Gramatica at the Bucs game Sunday. At that point, he said he hadn't slept, so I know it was exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah, the Sean DeByram, that's been in the back pocket. Wanted a certain look to run it and got the look, and Sean's been really, really consistent throwing the football for us since we've been here, and so we got more up our sleeve there, and we'll continue to grow that. Everybody just loves Sean throwing the football. It's an exciting part of our offense. I think the entire team is like super jacked when it happens, so we'll continue to make our team happy there. And then Nico with the kick, he's been our long, deep field goal guy. He proved he can do it in camp, and he's played in every game. He kicks off for us, so I think that's been a huge part of him growing in his confidence. He's just got such an elite process, and really that whole specialist group does, and he's learning. He's got some really cool leaders in there with Stokesy and John Cannon and Cates. Like, those guys are really, really good for him to learn what being a college football player really is. And so when we went out, that was the first time we've really been in that situation to kick one that deep. And like, I know I didn't flinch. I know Coach Creamer, Coach Juice didn't flinch. It was like, man, kick. What is it? It's a 57, 58. That's Nico. Went and kicked it and then followed it up with another 2-yarder. And man, awesome for his confidence. I was joking in the press conference when I said it, but obviously I've coached him really well, and has nothing to do with genetics or how he grew up. It's really, we never take credit. We always give it to the kids. In this case, I think it was all coaching.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
by me.
Everybody's a kicking coach this week, I think.
This
Yeah.
I
Everybody on the staff.
That's right.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the Tulane game is a noon Eastern start, 11 a.m. local time. We've played every game under the lights so far. A little bit of an adjustment, but I guess maybe something the kids like, playing the early game.
Yeah, obviously the game time got announced a week ago, but Monday when we hit on it, in terms of it's going to come quick, and it does. Like when I tell you the look in the room was like, man, this is awesome. As much as the night games are really cool, and it's awesome to be in prime time on national TV. We practice in the morning. We practice every morning. We train in the mornings. That's what they're used to. They're used to getting up and going. And we challenge. I mean, early on in my time here, it was like pulling teeth, and you knew once you got adjusted, it was going to be what they love. I think, well, this is what we do. Let's go. And me personally, I enjoy waking up and playing ball. There's less sitting around, less wondering what the heck's going on, less, man, did you see that? Did you see that?
Right.
And more, let's get ourselves ready to roll and go play. Now it speeds the week up a little bit. You got to be ready to roll, and you don't have any time. Saturday morning, there's no more walkthroughs. There's no more, kind of going back through it. But I'm excited about it. It's certainly different because we've had 4 weeks at night. It's different because we're playing 5 games before October ever comes. This is really a test in a huge way for us to where we are from a maturity standpoint. Same time, Tulane's got the same exact situation, and I think a team that's battle tested, a team that's certainly going to be ready to roll, and they played last week at the same exact time slot.
I will say one of the sweeter things that you experience is to go on the road early, win the game, come home, you're home before the sun sets. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yes, it'll be cool.
So let's get that done.
Well, I've thought about the flip side of that, and I know your kids go to bed at a reasonable hour. There's got to be a curfew on a Friday night in New Orleans. We're not worried about them. I'm worried about Joey here because he's probably just going to go stumbling from Bourbon Street right to bed.
Is his defensive expert friend coming?
He'll be in front of the TV.
His defensive expert friend is already ready for the game.
Yeah.
Hey, Joey asked you a couple of cool questions. Your answers were great that people might not have heard. On our pregame show on the radio on Bulls Unlimited, 90 minutes before kick, we get Coach off the bus, and appreciate you giving that time. You used the word as far as how you felt when you woke up on Saturday morning. You said juicy, which if you're juiceless, you're useless. You know that. But what people might not have heard is at halftime. And it was a great question. Are you more encouraged or discouraged by how the first half ended? And your answer, I know you're trying to get off the field there, but you briefly said how encouraged you are just to be able to coach this team every day. Could you expound upon that? I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I think probably January, February this past year as we got into winter workouts and you kind of saw the energy level and you saw the excitement. And I felt that way in the spring where these guys love coming to work. They love what the team has become. And that takes so much time to build that. And I think we've kind of accelerated the process there. These guys respect each other. These guys respect their coaches. I think our coaches really respect how they work, respect these guys' personalities. It's fun to come in and work with these guys. And game day is almost like a reward for that. I'm really encouraged with where we are. I'm encouraged with where we're going. I feel like I know our identity. I feel like I know where our holes are. I feel like I know where our strengths are. And I feel like we're playing off of each other. I love how our offense interacts with our defense and our defense interacts with our offense. The sideline's just so different than it's been. And we still have such a long way to go. And I know that sounds like a coach answer, but it's true. We have so much to go. We've got so much growth to make. Our younger guys got to get older quicker. We've got to grow schematically on both sides. But I'm so encouraged by how we come to work, the energy level that these guys come to work with. And it's easy to coach this group because they want to get better. And there's no resistance to getting better. They just want to come in and continue to get better. And that's, I think, when you truly believe in process-driven teams and you truly believe in that Saturday doesn't happen on Saturday. It happens throughout a week, and it happens throughout summer, and it happens through the off season. That's why I get so excited to watch our guys play because they're locked in, they're focused, and now you want the wins to come with it, and that's where we got to continue to build. Is that the end result is what everybody wants, and I think as we continue to build, it will be.
Awesome.
When you mentioned the word identity, when you take over a program, you have an idea of what you want it to be. What is it now? Or is it close to what you want it to be? Are you matching up?
I think we're getting closer. You want it to be consistent. You want it to be the same week to week, day to day. I think we're getting closer to that. And by the same, I mean at an elite level. I think we're getting closer to that. I think our foundation is strong. I think the standards within the program are established. I think the expectations are established. Now it's holding everybody accountable to that and continuing to recruit to that model and continuing to grow depth and continue to get the young guys older. And there's no substitute for game experience. And that's where we've got to continue to take steps. But I do think as we get off the bus, the expectation of winning the game is where the biggest shift has happened. Because I do feel like, and you watch us play, you can see that there's an expectation that we're going to win the football game. And I think as long as it continues to be that way, we got to continue to pour tools into these guys to give them the tools they need to go be successful. But I'm encouraged by that.
I can say from being there, it just felt like an important game, and it felt like, as you mentioned, a big game. And now, as we wrap it up, another one coming up this Saturday. You could argue just as, if not more important, a word on Tulane. I mean, what Summerall has done already there, what the program has become is really strivable. Yeah,
absolutely. I think to gauge importance of games is really hard. What you know is it's the first conference game, and these conference games are all critically important. For us to go on the road again against the team, and I think really fascinating, really a program that 3 years ago was trying to find their identity, and the last 2 years have won, 10 or 11, and then won every one of them in the league a year ago. So a program that expects to win, knows how to win, and obviously Coach Summerall coming in there, he didn't do a whole lot of losing at Troy, knows what it takes, brought both coordinators with him, got so much respect, competed against him when he was at Kentucky, have watched him from afar. Man, his kids play really hard for him, schematically really solid. They play hard, they play fast, they fly around. It's exactly what you want. And for us, it'll be the next huge test because that program has been there, played for a championship. We have not. And so for us to take the next step, we got to go win these games, and it'll be fascinating to see where we are on Saturday.
We can't wait for it. Yeah, I know you'll be ready to go early on a Saturday morning, juicy, and with the victory, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks about it. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Derek Bowman will be our guest shortly here on Bullseye.
How great is it to be a USF Bull right now?
The greatest school on earth. I love it here.
It is a peak, dude. When you're in that student section, you all become family. It doesn't matter if you don't know the person next to you. You can talk to them like your family, bro. And it's just, there's no other feeling like it. The school spirit is so awesome when you're in there. It's unmatched.
Couldn't be happier to be a Bull. I'm proud to say that I go here, and I'm proud to say that I'm going to be a Bulls fan for the rest of my life. I'd rather be no one else.
Everyone's just screaming and yelling and cheering the cheers that we have been cheering for so long.
I feel like I'm part of something, part of a good community.
It makes your eyes wide open to how much more there was to being in USF football and all this. The student life is just fantastic.
It brings a big sense of school pride, and get to be a part of it. It's a great time.
The energy when the Bulls get a touchdown is absolutely amazing. When the lights turn green and everyone's just dancing, it's the best feeling ever.
The stadium is packed out right now, and it just makes you feel like such a community with everyone here, and we're all cheering.
It's the best student section in the nation, right here. We bleed green and gold, baby.
Woo! I am proud to be a Bull forever and always! Woo!
The student section is so electric. I love it here. Nothing better. It really makes me strive to want to do great and do great things for this university.
Just the sense of community. Honestly, just all the students banding together just to root on the Bulls. Go Bulls.
Being down there, the energy is different. It's electric. I can't even hear myself think. I love USF. Go Bulls.
School, sports, it's a great time to be a Bull, the best time to be a Bull ever. I'm a senior, I don't even want to leave. The pride is top notch. I've never seen anything like it before, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Welcome to a newly titled segment on the show. It's called Gentlemen Only with the Coolest Names. Darek Sharp, Derek Bowman. Did you get that? Caylee Cottrell will be also, she's cooler than both of us, so it's a great segment already. From Magnolia, Texas, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Magnolia. Okay. Quick pause, because the first thing I think of when I think of Magnolia is Chip and Joanna Gaines. Is that the Magnolia that you're from?
No, I do hear that a lot though.
Do you get that a lot?
I do. Pretty much every time someone hears I'm from Magnolia, Texas, immediately to
I'm
that.
sorry, who are Chip and Joanna Gaines? Real quick question.
It's a big like HGTV.
Oh.
The show
Fixer
Fixer
House
Upper, yeah.
Oh, the show Fixer
construction.
Upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They help people find their dream homes.
Totally love that show.
Yeah.
Did you watch it
It's
for
my
real?
time passer.
No, I've seen a couple episodes. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, but
It's kind
yeah.
of iconic in
HGTV.
Texas.
No, it is a lot. It's really well known. It's like the trendy thing to go
Yeah.
to Magnolia Farms.
Yeah,
but they're
that's
in Waco.
what I thought. Okay.
They're in
Okay.
Waco, so that's about 2.5 hours from the real Magnolia.
The real Magnolia. A Texas guy, only a 6-hour drive from New Orleans, but I understand that the only time you've been to New Orleans is to play against them when you were with Houston, correct?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
3 years at Houston, now your second year as a Bull, part of the offensive line, and a big part, obviously, as a starting tackle of a team that is ranked 25th in the country running the football. And I know we've had a radio conversation about this before, but it was when your offensive coordinator, Coach Joel Gordon, was saying how, hey, we're going to run the ball. It's our intentions, and we'll let you know, and we can throw the ball if we need to. Obviously, we've got a pretty good quarterback, but how did that make you feel when you know that's the mentality of your OC?
Just like we'd spoken about in that conversation, I mean, I love to hear that as an offensive lineman. I love to run the ball. And especially now, a couple games in, to see that it wasn't just lip service, and that like, I mean, I already knew he's a man of his word, but that like we are running the ball and we're running the ball well. Feels good.
And it seems like you can not even have to worry about who's behind you because of the three guys, primarily, of course, with Naquan, Kelly, and TK. Speak about what each of them bring and how, I guess to my point, you don't even have to look behind you. You know whoever it is going to be a good play.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to just be able to worry about doing our job and know that we have such elite running backs that, I mean, they're going to go make the play. Even if we may not be perfect on it, that they're so good, they make us look like we're right.
Talking about your teammates, before the season, Coach Hoodie said that he's so proud that this is the tightest group that he's ever coached. Do you feel that too?
Yeah. I mean, we got going to meetings every day is a ton of fun because I'm going with my buddies, and we have a tight group that enjoys sitting and watching ball. But even we get in there a little early and just joke around and tell jokes and mess with people, and like it's a good time.
Well, I don't know if you have an official nickname that's for publication, but mine would be the Comedy Club because Mike Lofton, comedian, RJ Perry, could be a comedian. You've got a little low-key. You could be the warm-up act.
Yeah.
Love the mustache, by the way.
Appreciate that.
And then maybe Zane, I don't know about him. Maybe he could be the bouncer. But speak about how that aspect of the team and who is the funniest, because there's some top-notch candidates there.
Yeah. You know, I mean, popping off the sheet is Mike Lofton, but I mean, I'm never going to go against myself. I think I can joke with the best of them, but I'd say Mike's pretty funny. RJ thinks he's funnier than he actually is.
Right.
I'm just gonna say
he's like more noisy than funny, right?
Yeah, like just because you're loud doesn't mean you're funny. You know what I mean?
See, he just proved it because that was a little slick. Speaking of loud,
I like
let's get into some of the crowds you guys have played. Environment, of course, and it's a smaller stadium. It's going to be loud in New Orleans, so I want to ask: 100,000 people in Alabama. First of all, I'm guessing that was the loudest environment. Now, how do you guys try and communicate with each other?
Just kind of, I mean, like, just playing so much ball with each other throughout these past 2 years of, like, there's almost a point where we don't need a ton of verbal communication, where it's just quick words where it's like, hey, there, like, Mike, you know what I mean? And so, like, it's quick communication, and we have great mechanics and stuff, too, to help us out when it gets really noisy and when it's hard to hear and stuff.
It's incredible.
Well, talking about that connection you have with your teammates before the season, you were asked about team goals, and you were also asked about individual personal goal, which was for you was to be a good teammate, you said. So how important is that to you to be a good teammate to your guys?
I mean, still, that's my goal, because at the end of the day, I don't have any stats other than a win and loss column. So me being the best teammate I can be for the alignment that I play with, for the elite running backs I have, for Byram, for Bryce, and all the wideouts we have, is me being able to fulfill my role and be a good teammate helps the team be better, which is what we're striving for.
You bring up the stats thing. That is a great point, because a lot of people just go right for the stats. And pancake blocks, okay, I guess that's the only thing you can look forward to, but you can't always get one of those. Actually, it's funny, I was doing some work with the Broncos radio crew for their game against the Bucs, and I was pointing out to the play-by-play guy, it was my job, that they had made a change at right tackle, and he acknowledged it, but they didn't really say his name until the end of the game, and they said, you know what? It's a good sign when I didn't say his name the whole game. That's got to be rough. How long does it take to get used to? You're not going to get in the stat sheet, and if no one says your name, maybe it's a good thing.
See, I'm not a huge guy on the spotlight, and so it doesn't really bother me too much. I don't need all the glory and attention from it. I'm good with just performing well.
But do you get it from your coaches? Talk about what kind of credit you guys get that people might not see and definitely don't see in a box score.
Yeah, for sure. The running backs and the quarterback, and Byram and everyone, they do a good job, and the coaches do a good job loving up on us and telling us, like, hey, you did a good job there, which is always appreciative to hear, because it's always good to hear that you're doing a good job. You know what I mean?
Listen, he's even like, it's hard for him to talk about himself doing a good job. I appreciate you not wanting the spotlight, but we're giving some to you anyway.
Well, I mean, and talk about being one of the most kind-hearted people. You are one of them, and I feel like a lot of our linemen are. Is that a trait of a lineman? Because I feel like your room is some of the best people that I've ever worked with.
I think so. Rosemary, one of our academic ladies, she always says that, she's like, if I could have someone, a position group, date my daughter, it'd be an offensive lineman, because we're protectors and we're just big old teddy bears, basically.
Yeah.
Outside of the field.
I love it.
I was just about to go there with it. I mean, like, away from dating the daughters, you got to turn it on the field. So is there anybody that you have to dial it down once they get on the field, or is it good to have that intensity?
I think it's good, and I've seen it out of all of us too. Good. Is that we kind of have that switch where when it's go time, we're all locked in and violent. Like Coach Hoodie says, like, be the most violent group on the field, and I think we do a good job of being able to go there and be that violent and physical and all we need on the field, while at the same time, like we're talking about, like, having the connection of the group that we are off the field.
And I know we're bouncing back to Rosemary, academic advisor. You already have graduated. What are your studies now?
So I'm in the MBA program.
Awesome.
So I'm in grad school trying to get my MBA, and yeah.
That's awesome.
You're killing
it. Last thing, in our final segment, I'm really going to get to Caylee on Cajun cuisine, but you're going to be in New Orleans. Do you like Cajun food? Are you ready for that part of things? Or do you have to watch what you eat on a Friday night?
While we're on the trip, it's we kind of are sheltered in the food that we have prepared in the hotel, but there's a ton of Cajun people in the Houston area. Okay. And so growing up,
you can tell us
I was always at crawfish boils, and I had family friends that his mom would make homemade gumbo and stuff like that, and so
yum.
So good.
Oh, you don't know what crawfish boils are. I'll explain it to you afterwards. And is anything too spicy?
No.
That doesn't exist?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, be spicy this weekend. Keep it up. Thanks a lot, Derek.
Thanks,
Appreciate that.
We will wrap it up, and we'll get to more on the next week, this upcoming week's game and Cajun food. Stay tuned. As we start to wrap it up here, and we'll definitely explain what a crawfish boil is to Caylee. She really doesn't know. Joey's been to New Orleans however many times you've been there. That's how many more times.
Yeah.
More times.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be
I need the calmness. I can do it. I'm encouraging Caylee to go get in the craziness, but I'm good with the calm.
I've experienced both in New Orleans, and I think for a first time, I would say try the happy medium, but didn't really exist
maybe a nice
in New
little
Orleans.
Friday night dinner.
A Friday night dinner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Friday night dinner.
We'll get into the cuisine in a second. I thought, Joey, one thing that Coach said, first of all, he didn't say anything. We didn't ask him about Byron Brown, but let's clear that up for people that might have seen the game and saw him leave and go not only into the injury tent, but into the tunnel.
The locker room.
You might not have seen him come out, and he's fine.
Yeah, those were two alarming things initially, but as it turned out, Byron was fine. He could have gotten back into the game, but the score didn't dictate that. Gives Bryce Archie some good reps. So, but Byram is fine. He's practicing as normal. He'll be fine for the Tulane game.
And then another thing that he mentioned that I'm not so sure about from this broadcaster's point of view, especially on a Saturday morning, but for the team, I'm glad not my concern, it's the team's concern. They're great with an early start.
They are. I love the night games. I love playing under the lights. But when you're a football team used to a routine, and this team practices in the morning, playing a morning game, even an 11 a.m. kickoff in New Orleans, they'll be just fine with that. That's going to fit right into their routine. And let's face it, as much as I like night games, you are filling time until that game. So and if you're a player, it's a lot of time to fill in a hotel. So this way they get up, do their meal, and go play the game. Should be a nice routine for them.
And Yeoman Stadium is a cool little stadium. By the way, sometimes I actually think about my shirt color selection, especially doing broadcast or women's basketball. Sometimes we'll play a team that could be green, but Tulane, for some reason, has gone to more blue over the last few years, so it's going to be green probably against blue. I don't know that officially. Now, when I say Cajun food, what do you think of, if anything?
I've had gumbo.
Okay.
Yeah.
And?
I like it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I like gumbo. I like beignets.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to make sure you knew about.
I have a sweet tooth, so beignets hit just right.
Beignets seem like you could run a marathon and then have 2 beignets and you put on 5 pounds. Like you're worse off.
Are you saying there's sugar in beignets?
Sugar on sugar
oh
on
my
sugar.
goodness! But yes, please do that when you're there. And
Okay.
You just don't seem like a coffee person. You are?
I could live off of coffee.
Okay,
honestly.
because you always seem so energized, like naturally. Okay, so do you
Yeah.
know what is it? Cafe au lait? It's
No, I
basically
haven't heard.
coffee with milk.
Yeah.
That's the New Orleans thing you got to do.
Oh,
Chicory
okay.
coffee.
Yeah.
if
Cafe
possible.
du Monde is where
Okay.
you need to go.
That's the place.
And get the cafe au lait and beignet. Yeah, you have to do that.
Oh, noted.
That's your Saturday morning.
And
Will
then
do. Okay.
Crawfish boil's not going to happen, but if you ever get a chance to go to one, because it is a party, basically
Is that
it's
shrimp?
It's crawfish, Caylee.
Which is different than
Hence
shrimp.
the name.
It
But-
is. Is
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
You- It's a whole different show, but it's
It'll be
it's
for
a,
the cooking
I
show.
thought that was another name for shrimp.
no, it kind of looks like a shrimp, except
Okay.
the only edible part is just the head part, and a little bit of the. Yeah, you don't want to. No, don't make that your
Yeah.
first experience.
Now
in New
I'm
Orleans.
scarred a little bit.
Yeah, and there's other stuff, but really, you have to go for the crawfish some other day.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Right.
I'll be open-minded,
Yeah.
but maybe
Yeah,
I'll hold off on that
So
one for now.
it's
I'll
you
start
know,
with the beignets.
Yeah, you'll have some good food in New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans is known for its cuisine. So I'd be
Beignets.
disappointed if you didn't like the food. So
I'm
Beignets
excited.
are a little bit easier to figure out too, trust me. Hey, when I mentioned Coach Golesh, we'll talk about to him in a couple of weeks. No show next week as it is a bye week for the team, and then in a couple of Thursdays we'll be back to say a little bit about Tulane and then look forward to a Friday night under the lights at Raymond James Stadium against Memphis. For Caylee, for Joey, I'm Darek Sharp. Thanks for checking us out. Horns up.